You feel anxious. Your heart races. Your breathing shortens. Your thoughts accelerate. But here's what most people don't realize. Anxiety doesn't just feel intense, it physically reshapes the brain. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, physically. And if it repeats often enough, the brain begins adapting to anxiety as if it were normal. Tonight, we're going inside that process. If anxiety can physically reshape the brain, does that mean it causes permanent damage? Hold that question. Deep inside your brain is a structure called the amygdala. Its job is survival. It scans for threat before you consciously process anything. When it activates, the nervous system mobilizes, heart rate rises, attention sharpens. In short bursts, this is protective. But anxiety is not a single event. It is repeated activation of this system without a clear external threat, and repetition changes wiring. The brain strengthens what it uses most, and this is where the physical reshaping begins. Neuroplasticity means the brain adapts to repeated experience. If the threat circuit activates daily, the connection supporting it grows stronger. The amygdala becomes more reactive. It needs less stimulus to fire. The threshold lowers. At the same time, other regions begin adjusting. Not because something is broken, but because the brain believes threat is frequent. It adapts accordingly. But the amygdala doesn't work alone. What happens to the brain's regulation system during chronic anxiety? The prefrontal cortex helps regulate emotional responses. It evaluates context. It says, this is safe. But chronic stress chemistry shifts balance. Elevated cortisol over long periods can weaken communication between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. Emotion becomes louder. Regulation becomes slower. The brain's internal dialogue changes, not because intelligence decreases, but because stress changes connectivity. So does this mean anxiety causes permanent damage? Not exactly, because structural change is not the same as irreversible loss. Prolonged stress exposure has been linked to reduced hippocampal volume, changes in synaptic density, altered dendritic branching. The hippocampus helps distinguish past from present. If it becomes less efficient, the brain may stay alert even when danger is past. Anxiety becomes self-reinforcing. But here's the critical distinction. These are adaptive responses to chronic signaling, not one-way destruction. If anxiety can strengthen fear circuits, can recovery strengthen regulation circuits? Yes, the same neuroplasticity that reinforces anxiety can reinforce calm. Repeated breathing regulation increases vagal tone. Therapy reshapes threat interpretation pathways. Gradual exposure lowers hypersensitivity. Movement reduces baseline stress chemistry. The brain recalibrates based on repeated input. Anxiety physically changes the brain, but recovery physically changes it too. Anxiety is not weakness. It is a brain adapting to perceived threat, but adaptation is not destiny, because the brain that learned fear can learn safety. Understanding this shifts the narrative. You are not broken, you are adaptive, and adaptation can be redirected.